Okay, so we've got a very simple goal today. We're going to try to use this template to cut out this board, and if there's time, we're going to mount these trucks onto it. It is now 6:11, so we're going to see how long this takes, and I'm going to start right now. So I've sanded down the edges, and that just makes sure I've got a nice flat continuous line that I can take measurements from. So I just need to mark the center at the ends. It's about 10 inches wide. So I just mark 5 inches and do a line from that side, do a line from this side, and I can eyeball the center between those two lines. There, perfect. And now, some of this dust off here. I take my template and I've got to line it up the right way. And I'm going to make it flush. I'm lining it up with the rear, flush with this edge here, and centered. And just doing that. And then same thing over here. And you know what? I'm going to grab this. This will be a better work surface for me. There, like that. Because the edges of the deck can hang off of it. That'll be good. So I've got to make sure this is centered on this side. Double check this side. And there we go. And from there, all I need to do is grab my Sharpie and mark everything. And there we go. Take the template off. And head over to the bandsaw over here. Right, here we go. All I've got to do is follow my lines. So we've got these inside corners that just weren't going to happen on the bandsaw. I could get this side, but I just couldn't rotate the board the right way to get this one. So I'm just going to finish it off with the jigsaw. So, and well, alright, so that's it roughly cut out all the way, and you can probably see it's pretty rough, and the idea is just to remove as much material as I can to prepare it for routing. So I might need to be slower and more careful in the future, but right now I'm just seeing, this is kind of an experiment still to see how much I need to take off. So that's what it is. So now what I've got to do is I'm going to take this, put this back on here. I'm going to put the camera back over here. And we put the template on it again as well. Alright, and then you can see there's just a little bit around the perimeter. So what I want to do right now is actually grab some stuff. I'm going to be drilling out the template holes. So here's the deal. With this step, I don't want the board to be moving around at all past this point. So I'm going to get rid of the spring clamps and do a little bit more robust clamps. With the drill. So. Blue for my wood. You're really gonna have to more. I'm pushing through. I'm doing it. Alright, yeah, perfect. So now, what I can do is actually try to find a router bit that's going to work. So, let's see what I got here. We need to find a bit with a follower on it. So, something like this might work, but this bearing sounds like it's shot pretty good, actually. This one's probably gonna work all right. The bearing's still not that good. Seems sharp enough, but it's kind of a mess. See what else we can find. This one might be. Oh yeah, this one. It's probably not tall enough, unfortunately. Yeah, too shallow. Too shallow. I think what I'll do is I'll use this one and I'll swap out the bearing for one of the other ones. This has got a good bearing on it. One like this would actually be really good, but I think it'd be too hard to use that router, that big router. So we'll see. We'll try this one and I'll try swapping the bearing out. So I couldn't change out the bearing on that bit. It was just seized up. I couldn't get it off. But I did find another bit with a good bearing, and I'm not going to show you it's good because it's plugged in and ready to go. I've already adjusted the height so that it's going to ride on the template. The one thing I should do is grab some wax to wax the template so that if the bearing does get caught and start spinning, it won't burn out the template. What it can do is the bearing can spin so fast it'll start burning the wood and then burn into it, and it can do it really fast, well, pretty quickly, and wax will slow that down fast enough where you'll be able to catch it and not ruin your template. So I'll do that real quick and then I'll be right back. Alright, so here's the wax I've got. It's just a stick wax. Alright, so ready to go, and I'm just going to take it slow because I don't know exactly how well this router bit is going to work, if it's nice and sharp, if I've got too much material still, all sorts of factors like that. So just taking it slow, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so the template worked all right. There's just a few tiny spots. I'm definitely going to have to go over it with something else as well. I didn't bother doing the flat edges. I started like right here and then went around and just gave up. So I've just been doing the curves. So these flats, I'm just going to take the flat on probably just the belt sander or something. I'll probably cut them to the right size beforehand next time, rather than relying on routing the edges, because yeah, it's a waste to route a straight line. But aside from that, there's just a few little touch-ups. You can see those dark spots are just there's a tiny bit deeper. You can see it's not exactly smooth there, but it's all pretty close. And it didn't take very long. I didn't have to do any measuring or drawing or anything. So if I take more material off and I'm more careful with my band sawing, I think it should be a really good thing. So I didn't have the nose marked for the rounds because the blanks have a slight variance in size. So I wanted to maximize the nose for every individual blank, so I could have a big nose as possible. So I marked it out with my can, and I'll cut that out, and I'll also just go around with my orbital sander and take care of all the bumps and nicks and just smooth it out generally, just the small imperfections from the routing. You can see there's a little right there. It's really minor stuff, but it should be really quick, so I'm not even going to film it, but that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'll get back. Alright. So now I'm going to take this other router, which has got a rounded edge, and I'm just going to put a round on the entire perimeter on the bottom, and then on the top I'm just going to do it on the tail and nose sections, and keep the foot platform as large and unencumbered as possible. So here we go. This should be a lot easier than the last one. So you can tell it took a lot less time than routing the perimeter with the template. And ideally I'd get to the point where routing the perimeter with the template is about as easy as doing that. So let's see. So I'll just do the nose and tail from here up. So from there, I'll just taper it in using the sand. Like that. Yeah. So there we go. That gives us a nice rounded nose and tail, and that really helps for when you get curved. It won't bust up as much. So there's one more thing I need to do with the router, and that's to do a chamfer on this part here. So I've got to find the bit for that, and then I'll do that. Okay, so I brought that out, and it's really rough right now, but I'll be able to sand it smooth, similarly to what I did right here. So yeah, check on that. Very different. Changes fast from looking really bad to looking pretty good. Okay, so this is an edge that's really useful because when your board's flipped over, you get your toe under that and flip the board back upright. It's really nice. It also is nice and rounded, so when you're carrying it, it makes a nice, comfortable handle. It's very nice. And it doesn't take a whole lot of material in the center to make it too weak. Which you'd expect it might, but it really stays pretty strong. Because really the weak point is still the neck where the trucks are. So, that's pretty close to being good here. Let's go over where there's more room. All right, so that's basically really close to being done. It is 7:43 now, but there's been about an hour of work. I've been working about an hour. It's a lot less effective when I'm fiddling around with the camera, dragging the camera around. I had an issue with something else in the shop. Made a mess and I had to clean it up, so that took about half an hour. But yeah, I'd say about an hour's work. And so if I streamline this and I do all the cutting out all at once, all the routing all at once, all the sanding all at once, and instead of switching out tools all the time, I think I could actually cut it down to maybe about 40 minutes of board to get to this point. And that's really good. So, there's still more to do though. Of course, I've got to finish drilling out the bolt holes. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to drill out the one set that I plan to use, and the rest will just remain as pilot holes. And if someone needs to move the trucks around, it'll have pilot holes for them. But if they don't need to move the trucks around, I'm removing as little material as possible to retain as much strength as possible. I think that's a pretty good compromise. Let's see, I'd like to do something with the wood to either seal it or stain it or, do something like that. So that's going to be another step. It's really quick to do, but it has a day's worth of drying involved. And as well, the other thing I've got to do is sanding. I've got to sand this edge a bunch. Because the deck is so low and it leans over so far, it actually touches the ground here and along the edge. So I've got to sand that down. But I can't do it today because the board I have as a template to see what I need to sand to isn't here. What I did is I just made a board and I just wrote it a whole bunch and let the concrete and asphalt grind it down where it needs to be ground away. And I was going to use it as a template, but I don't have it right now. So, since this is about as far as I can do right now, I think I'm going to put some trucks on it. And I can finish it up later, but this is essentially, for the time being, done enough to put trucks on. So let's do that. Okay, so drilling out the holes for the trucks. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start going about halfway, like that. Flip it and go the rest of the way, and that's mostly just to prevent blowout, so the holes stay neat. Whoops. Okay, that's one set of holes. Looks neat. That's always good. Here we go. Second set of holes. Perfect. Let's get some trucks on there. Take those off, and I'm not going to film that. Alright, so there we go. Got trucks on there. I might need to take them off again to put the grip tape on, but oh well. And there you see from the bottom. It's funny, so these trucks are one of our earlier P2 trucks, so that all the holes in them were drilled by hand. No CNC going on. So, well, this one, which was CNC cut, the trucks went on nice and perfect. This one did not. So my truck mount pattern is actually better than the truck pattern that we were using at the time when we were making our early truck. So I thought it was pretty good. So there we go. I think that's everything. I think I'll get some pictures of it when I get it together a bit more, and I'll upload it with that. But until then, Longboard Technology, over and out.